Oh,
So we'll see today's agenda. Today is what, 6 Feb. So we see a little bit about SnapLogic. We'll see about ETL. We'll create.
Can you please zoom in we got
Yeah, yeah,
small
I'll
photos we have
show.
to see.
Yeah, yeah. You can also zoom in from your, I mean, the screen you are seeing, right? From there also you can zoom.
Can't able to zoom in. That's why can't
Yeah.
able to zoom in.
Okay, let me 1 second. Let me see if there is. Okay. Do you see now?
Ah, now it's good.
Okay. We'll create Snap project account. Okay. And what else? Yeah. We'll keep adding based on the things later as we move. We'll keep it aside. Okay. So before starting or pitching into SnapLogic, so have you heard about data engineering, what they do, what exactly is needed to be performed in that, or what are the roles they do? So you guys have any idea on that?
Actually, we're getting the different types of data like CSV files, uh, Excel and XML files. We are getting that are the source files and load it into the OLEDB destinations. Like
Yeah.
then we have to extract and import the data, and we can
Hmm.
do the manipulating and using the transformations.
Right.
Like
Yeah. So apart from that, data engineer work is also to analyze the data, see what it can be taken out, and in some cases, data engineer does the visualization as well. Visualization tools can be Tableau, Click, Power BI. So all these are visualization tool. And along with this, data engineer should be aware of programming languages, mainly SQL as well as Python. So if you know, well and good. If you don't know, try to learn. Okay, these are quite important. Um,
both we have to learn, na? SQL and
yes,
Python.
yes.
Actually, I know SQL and MSPI, SSIS, SSRS also,
Okay.
but I don't know Python.
Yeah, Python is needed. Python is needed everywhere. So Python or R, but preferably for now you can read Python, and SQL is the most important. Okay,
SQL I know it. And Pega also I know, Pega BPM tool.
okay, that's good. Um, so so this is Manjunath, right? Or Satish?
Satish only.
Satish, Satish.
Okay, Manjunath yourself? Any?
I know SQL. That's all. I don't know Python. Yeah.
Okay. So Satish correctly said like we need to pull data from different sources and write that
Yeah.
data into a destination site. It could be anything. It could be an application. It could be into a block storage or any kind of storage into any format like CSV or Parquet or any kind of format. If depends on the requirement, depends on the use case of the project. Okay. So, so for this, we called a term called ETL. So ETL is
Extract and transformation language. Like
right. So we and there is something called ELT. It is the same thing. So can you tell me what is the difference between these two?
here before here transform the data.
Yeah,
Here before transform, first load the data, then transform.
exactly. So there are situation, for example, to give as a real-time example, uh, for in AWS there is a AWS Azure Glue, sorry, AWS Glue, and so or let's consider SnapLogic on itself. So there can be a use case where you will pull the data and you pull the data as is. So so situation occurs like there is a petabyte of data or zettabyte of data or gigabytes of data. Okay, so you cannot do transformation on that particular data. As a SnapLogic will die, or any such tool can die if you do transformation on that data. So what you can do is you can pull the data as is, store it in blob storage or S3 or anywhere. So after storing that data, you can create a table on top of it. So there are tools available, like on the data itself, you can create a table. You do not have to first create the table like in RDBMS and then write the data. There are, for example, like AWS Athena. So there on top of that data, the data stored, you can create a managed table. So managed table, I'll explain in depth, difference between managed table and external table. So in this situation, you can create an external table, and so on top of that data, so what happens is like whatever data you have, it will create a table on top of it, considering all the columns it will take, um, and it will be like exactly how the data looks like. It will create a table on it, and you can able to query the data from that particular table. So AWS Glue Athena is where you will able to query the data. Similarly, we have something called Databricks. I'm not sure if you guys have heard or not, but in even in Databricks, you can create a managed table, external table on top of the data, and data can be stored on the blob storage or the S3 storage. But problem here is like once you delete the data, so the table will gets empty. So that is one, maybe it could be advantage, it could also be disadvantage based on the situation scenarios. Okay, so here extract, transform, and load is like extracting data from different sources. The source could be anything, either box, or it could be any application like DBs. It could be um, live stream data as well, streaming data. I'll just take the text itself. So data from any application, data from storages. You can also pull data from S3, Azure, or it can be REST API. So you can pull data from REST APIs as well. So directly from the REST APIs, and you can process the data. And data can be in any format. For if you pull from REST API, it can be objects. So that also you can pull. You can also pull from CSV, where you will have data in comma separated format, or Excel SX form, or Excel, I mean Excel SX file, JSON file. So all this could be your data, source data. So in industry, mostly JSON, CSV, REST API majorly being used as a source, or any application like Box, DB, or streaming data. Streaming data is worked by some particular companies, not all the companies, but yes, there may be chances that you will pull the streaming data. But in SnapLogic, stream data, it's people rarely use it for streaming and all. But nowadays, like even in SnapLogic, you can do all ML operations. So there are snaps which can directly create your machine learning models, and you can use that. maybe that won't be much what you say accurate, but yes, there are options that you can do as well. And your destination could be majorly storages, Azure Blob, S3, REST API is source. S3 and Blob would be always your storage, but and the formats what industry uses is Parquet. Um, and there are other formats like Aura or CSV Excel also they uses, but they prefer Parquet. So Parquet being as a columnar and it compresses the data. The compression ratio is very high in Parquet, so that's the reason they uses Parquet all the time. Okay, so hope this is like clear, like ETL, right? And defining SnapLogic, of course, an ETL tool. Along with that, it is also an iPass tool. So iPass tool, um, iPass. So we generally call SnapLogic as an integrated platform as a service tool. So what it means actually is integrated is nothing but it um, it has all everything required into a single application, and that is hosted like that you can access it in what you say in your browser. So that is called like platform as a service. So it they are giving all the platform, like you do not have to do anything. They are giving everything to you. You just have to log into a browser and you can utilize their platform. So and integrated is nothing but they are giving every snap or everything into your one platform. So you do not have to do anything. They will do whatever, I mean, whatever you need, they are providing you, and you do not have to do installation or do not have to do any other upgrade or update. I mean, update and upgrade you have. I mean, not upgrade. You can just update the snap packs, but upgrade you cannot do it. Okay, so that's why we call in SnapLogic as an iPaaS tool. So integrated platform as a service. So there are other like Azure, if you consider. So there it provides a service called um, SaaS as a service, SaaS, and there is one more service it provides. So like it's like SaaS is a software as a service, a platform as a service, and there is one more. Yeah, let me clear it 1 second. Software, yeah, and IaaS. Okay, so IaaS is nothing but infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So you know difference of this, or have you heard for the first time?
We are in first only. I don't have any idea about that. So
Okay, so Azure are also AWS. So these two are also Google Cloud. Okay, so all these three top providers, they provide their resources in these three categories all the time. They have divided their applications or services into this category: integrated as a service, software as a service, and platform as a service. Okay, software infrastructure as a service. This is not integrated platform as a service. It's infra structure as a service. So why this? I mean, these three services as categorized depending on the use case of an user or companies. So if company asks they need a platform, or they need only the software, or they need only infrastructure. So based on their requirement, Azure provides the service. Okay, so for example, like for the platform as a service, or infrastructure as a service, they give you, for example, like if any application, for example, Power BI is an a software as a service. Okay, so or Tableau doesn't provided by Azure, but yeah, Power BI provided by Azure. So it's an software as a solution. Like I go and ask them, like I need Power BI. I want to use Power BI for my company, so they will provide you that Power BI, and they will only charge for that particular Power BI. They will not charge for anything else. And if you go them and ask, like I need a virtual machine, Windows server, so they will charge only for that. So that's nothing but like platform as a service. And integration as a service is like they will provide a complete platform. There in terms like they will provide you all storage, they will provide you um the complete infrastructure, storage and Azure Data Factory, or any other such tool. So they will provide you whatever you needed, and whatever you use, they will charge you for that. So that's how they have categorized. The same way goes with AWS, the same way goes with Google Cloud as well. And it is always important to have a basic knowledge of all this. And when you are working with SnapLogic, it would be necessary that you have idea of AWS S3, Azure Blob. It is important because there are companies which would be tied up with Azure, or tied up with AWS or Google Cloud. So majorly you will see Azure and AWS. Rarely you will see Google Cloud, but they will be tied up because nowadays data is like blood, and they cannot manage the data on their own infrastructure. So they have to have cloud infrastructure to store or manage the data. Okay, and so you will have to have a basic idea. At least go check Google and look S3. You can create free accounts even with Azure, AWS, Google Cloud. You can create free accounts. Try to go through all the services they provide, and majorly you'll have to look for storages, not any other service, but yeah, for storages you will have to always look for, and you will have to connect that with SnapLogic and try to test. We will try to have one. If you any of you creates an free service, we'll try to connect with that and try to access it from SnapLogic. Or I'll try to create myself, and then I will provide access to that, and we will try that. Okay. So this will be like going forward when we start our practical sessions, we will um, work on it. So this being said, let's go to next topic. So SnapLogic, let's come to the real topics now. So so SnapLogic is like basically defines with 3 years, anything, anywhere, anytime. Okay. So whatever I have explained, a brief introduction I have given, but let's go in depth. Let's take one more text. So with 3 A's, SAMP logic is defined. So 1A becomes anything, the other one becomes anywhere, and the other one becomes anytime. Okay. So anything could be like you can access or take data from any application. It could be apps, or it could be APIs, it could be things, it could be data. So whatever you feel like, whatever you know, that can be accessed through SAMP logic. And anywhere is like on-prem or cloud. So you can access data from on-prem. On-prem is nothing but applications which is running on your servers, not on clouds, Azure or AWS or Google Cloud. It would be running in your own server. So that is on-prem. Cloud is like Azure, AWS, and Google Cloud. Okay, and anytime is batch, streaming, or real time. Okay, so batch is nothing but you pull the data. For example, you schedule your pipeline, and there are data which comes on daily basis. So you will try to fetch data on daily basis. And streaming is like live streaming, anything running live. You are getting live data. For example, like in embedded systems, you will get all the streams live. For example, any sensors, if you see, it sends live stream data, so that you have to collect and process it in SnapLogic. Real time is like so for example, like in real time, in the sense it will be kind of streaming, but real time is for example, any data getting generated on daily basis. For example, in Azure data, on any DB, if someone insert a record, and that record has to be fetched in real time. Like as soon as somebody inserts a record, that record has to be fetched and process it. So that becomes real time. It may be possible that there would be 1 or 2 seconds delay, that we call it as a near real time. And doing real time is quite difficult, but near real time at least that can be achieved. Okay, so this is 3 years, which is important. Next, coming to like types of support it provides. Okay, support in the sense it could be cloud to cloud. You can fetch data from any cloud to any cloud. Like in even in Azure to Azure itself, you can pull the data, do the operations, or from Azure to AWS, or from AWS to Azure, Google Cloud. So that's cloud to cloud. And also you can do the operation cloud to ground. Like you can fetch the data from cloud service and write that into ground. For example, like I have a CSV file that I want to write it into Oracle database, which is running in Windows Server or somewhere. So that also you can do it. And also you can do ground to ground. It means like from what to say, Oracle to Oracle DB, you can do it. Like all the on-prem applications, you can do the operation. You can able to connect, and also you can do the hybrid. Hybrid would be like cloud to ground, ground to cloud, and um, so all that any SAP application that you can access and write it into on-prem. So all that covers, like this covers that SnapLogic can do anything. Okay, but there are tools like Azure Data Factory. So that is also an ETL tool, but they try to their tool is designed in such a way that and they have given more priority to getting data from on-prem or ground to cloud. But SnapLogic is not that. You can do they concentrate on everything. The cloud will always try to give a facilities such a way that they access data from ground to cloud itself majorly. But SnapLogic being a middleware, it does for everything. So anybody knows what would be the equivalent applications we have for ETL, same as SnapLogic, like similar to SnapLogic? Anybody knows any other tool?
Like MuleSoft, something like that.
Yeah,
Informatica.
right. There is also got talent. So all these are similar, also called
And
Azure.
Boomi is also an
Workday
integration.
also is there. Workday.
Yeah, Workday, I'm not sure.
Boomi, so
Boom is there.
integration tool.
Yeah. And talent and the cloud provided are ADF, AWS Glue, Databricks can also do this. Okay, so everywhere the concept remains same. Only thing is how they get used is different. I was supporting a guy. I was actually working as a freelance for one of the company. They were also developing the similar kind of ETL tool, and they wanted to compare SnapLogic with their tool. So I had given them inputs, and they had what to say implemented their changes. So, but SnapLogic is the most what do you say the visionary. I think last Friday, Saturday, I was showing up the fourth quadrant of the Gartner. So SnapLogic is the best. And if you see SnapLogic being used in any company, that company would be a CMM 3 and above level company. So there is a reason for that. Like the companies which are CMM 3 or less, they cannot afford SnapLogic. They charge you huge. Okay, for everything they will charge you. But yes, but I think the guy who developed this SnapLogic is from India itself, and he was working with Informatica. So then he came up and he started his own product. It named that SnapLogic, and now it's SnapLogic is the most used tool. And for companies like my company also uses Teva Pharmaceutical or McKinsey and Company, this kind of companies they use a SnapLogic. I'll show you some of the companies. You will see the bigger companies only uses the SnapLogic. Let's check here itself. Yeah, if you see this Adobe is the most used company for SnapLogic. They uses they use heavily. PwC is the other company which uses. You will always see opening in PwC for SnapLogic.
Okay.
Yeah, you can target all these companies, and of course, Adobe is tough, but yeah, PwC you can easily get into Workday.
All these are US based companies, right?
Yeah, I mean, all these are US based, but yeah, this SnapLogic they also have their headquarter in USA.
Yeah. Most of the companies are all US based.
Yeah, see this box. The box provides you service as well as they are using SnapLogic.
Okay.
Yeah, there are the company McKinsey and Company, my company Teva Pharma. So all these companies uses SnapLogic, though they are not mentioned. But yes, if you say Siemens majorly uses SnapLogic. Adobe. All these highlighted are the most people who use SnapLogic, and they solve their use cases using SnapLogic. If you see their use cases here, you can go and check how they have solved their use case using the SnapLogic. And I also feel SnapLogic is the most matured application. Why I say matured is you will get all the solution for doing any work. For example, like if you have a data issue and you want to drop some columns, or you want to manipulate some columns into it, or for example, like in Excel or CSV, first two rows are not empty, and that you want to remove it, and from third row you want to process the data, so that also you can do it. But if you consider ADF, it's very hard to do all that operations, though you can do it, but it's hard. And in SampLogic, it's very easy to do it. Okay, so that's how. But yes, for interviews and all, try to fetch these guys. I try to find someone from the SnapLogic team from PwC or Adobe or any other companies. If you search in Naukri, you'll see a lot of companies who need SnapLogic developers. And this is being a niche tool. You don't have much employees who supports SnapLogic,
Yes.
right? And I have seen my one of my colleague. She was working in SnapLogic itself. So she was working there, and she came to my company, and she had very good knowledge on SnapLogic. So SnapLogic, what you see, there is the website for them is like elastic.snaplogic.com. That's their production URL. But there are other URL as well, like for UDF. I mean, for testing and for development as well. And also SnapLogic, you can install it in your local machine. So that also you can do it. But that we don't do it. We always use their production environment all the time. And that is not is something which we don't need it. We only have to work on the what you say on their production environment. And in any company, if there is a called, I mean, if you find some issue, there are things which which they don't have any snap to perform. They will create an script. So that script you can use a snap called script, and you can write Python script. So actually it uses JavaScript, Ruby script, and Python script. So all these three languages it supports, and you can run your script into that snap, and you can execute the process. If you are not able to achieve it, or it's quite difficult to create a script I mean, specific to the snap logic, but the customer support, they will help you do it. So they will already have a lot of scripts provided to other companies, so same way they will just help you, they will provide you that script to you. So so that's
JavaScript is being mostly used. I heard. I don't know.
Yeah, Java, I mean JavaScript they uses most, because they all these sample logic snaps are developed in Java itself.
Okay.
So that's the reason they uses they are more familiar, because they will have all Java developers only there. So that's why it's mostly they prefer Java, but they can give you in any language. Okay, so let's do one thing. We'll continue this tomorrow. We have 10 more minutes, so let's create an account. Just try to go over there, see what's there, so that if I explain tomorrow, you'll be much more familiar. Okay. So for this, you need to have an ID with what to say, a company domain. You cannot do it with your personal Gmail ID or something. You need to have it any other domain. So for that, there is a website called TempMail. Okay. This is, you can just do it along with me. or if anybody interested can share their screen and we will do it together.
Temp mail. This is SnapLogic development tool.
No, just go to this tempmail.org.
Okay.
There you will there you will get a Gmail. I'm able
Hello,
to. Yes, Satish.
hello. I am sharing my screen. Can you visible the
Yeah, I can see your screen.
or tempo mail only?
Yeah,
Tempo mail.
go to temp-mail.org.
Okay, this
Use
one.
not that, I believe temp-mail. Go to Google. Don't use this. Do you have Google Chrome, right? Or go to google.com
Google
and
Chrome.
then
Okay,
search.
okay, okay. Okay. Temporary mail. Okay.
Yeah. Just wait for a second. You will get one email here.
Yes.
Yeah. Copy this email. You will be using this email um, for your next 1 month to log in. Okay, don't close this temp mail. Search for what do you say? Search for uh, the SnapLogic website.
A project website. Okay.
Yeah, SnapLogic login. Elastic.snaplogic.com. Yeah.
Yes. I think. Sign up for free trial. I can try.
Yes. Come down. Yeah. Fill your details here. Put that ID. Yeah. And you can put your real name. Manjanath, you are also doing?
Yeah, I'm doing.
Yeah, that's good.
Company. Which company I can put?
Company can put anything. You can put that domain itself as end.com. That is also fine. Phone number. It's not mandatory to put your real number, but you can put any alternate number.
Able to do it because internet
For
is
which
slow.
description? I just put it as other. This enough.
It's okay. It's okay. It will not be an issue.
Then
Yeah.
start my free trial.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That's what. Thank you for your interest in the Snap project in 30 days free trial. That's what I get.
Okay. Now go to your temp email first tab.
Okay.
Yeah. Come down. Scroll down. Yeah, you
Okay.
will see emails here. Just wait for a second. It will. You will get two emails from Sam Project. Open that email. You will have
Yes.
ID
I
and
open.
temporary password. Come down. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I
Just
have it.
copy that email ID and password, and you will ask. It will ask to reset your password. Great. So login to SnapLogic using this username and password. Remove that dot in the end in the email ID.
Okay, okay. New password it is asking.
Yeah, you can give any. It should be uppercase. It should have any. You should have number and then the.
That first one is like I could not do it. My system is not allowing. Might be company system. That's why I guess.
Yeah, don't do it in
In character
personal
it is
laptop.
asking, huh? CD.
The temp mail maybe it doesn't. Company system doesn't allow open that website.
Yeah. So
Do it in your personal laptop or do it in your phone itself.
okay.
Yes, only you need that temp, and for some time you should keep open that URL, temp URL.
Yes, I created.
Okay, that's it. So you need to log in next time with your email ID, that email ID, and the new password which you have just set.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So this will be there for 1 month, and whatever you create, you can just keep a backup. You can download and keep that pipeline with you, and you can log in. I mean, whenever you need, you can log in it. So
Okay.
that's
For logout and all, where we can log out here only, no?
yeah, there log out, or you can just close that tab with your log out.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Okay. So Manjana, try to do it, but tomorrow
Okay.
we'll go through this URL and see what it contains.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay, then I think it's been time. We'll continue this again tomorrow. I think same time.